Typhoid, or spotted fever, affected everyone from paupers to emperors. The often fatal illness did not discriminate. This intestinal infection caused by a specific type of Salmonella bacterium was a frequent guest in the imperial residences. During his stay in Livadia in the autumn of 1900, Nicholas II became gravely ill with typhoid. Initially, doctors were afraid to diagnose the disease for a long time, and then they argued about what medication to prescribe. The emperor fell ill with what proved to be a rather serious form of typhoid. The empress had a great horror of the illness, but a crisis always found her self-possessed and resourceful. She nursed the emperor herself, even doing the night nursing, and acted as his private secretary when he was able to attend to papers, transmitting his decisions to his ministers. The empress wrote to her sister, Princess Louis, aka Victoria of Battenberg. At the time, Nicky really was an angel of patience during his wearisome illness, never complaining, always ready to do all one bid him. His old valet and I nursed him. The shock of his illness and feeling myself necessary gave me new strength, as I had been very wretched before. I rebelled at a nurse being taken, and we managed perfectly ourselves. Orki, Alexandra's old nurse, would wash his face and hands in the morning. She would bring the empress her meals, where she would take them while resting on the sofa in her husband's room. She suffered from head and heartache, the latter from nerves and many sleepless nights. When Nicholas began getting better, she read to him. He first had a digestive upset on the 22nd of October 1900, and almost immediately the emperor's temperature rose to 39 to 40 degrees Celsius, 102 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. The high temperature and severe headache, coupled with food poisoning, continued until the 12th of November. Alexandra nursed him back to health, rarely leaving his side. While Alexandra Feodorovna was the one who looked after him, his sister Grand Duchess Xenia Alexandrovna recorded her brother's illness and recovery. Poor Nicky is lying in bed. He didn't sleep at all at night because of terrible pains in his back. In the morning his temperature was 38.2, during the day 38.7. His eyes are tired and pale. Dr. Gersh says that it's influenza. Thank God there's nothing in the lungs, or in general anywhere else. Poor Alex. Alexandra Feodorovna, she looks very tired. Zena's diary, the 27th of October 1900. Later on I drove to Livadia and looked in on Nicky for a minute. The back of his neck hurts terribly, and he doesn't know where to turn his head. All the pain from his back and legs has gone upwards, and he is suffering terribly. Poor Alex has forgotten about her own sickness and is moving around more. Gersh is adamant that it isn't typhoid. We asked him. Gersh asked Nicky to call someone else, to put everyone's mind at rest. It was decided to call for Dr. Tikhonov. Zena's diary, the 29th of October 1900. We met Tikhonov, who told us that several symptoms of typhoid had developed, and that they were almost sure that it was typhoid. With Alex's permission, Professor Popov was sent for. We had lunch alone together downstairs. A little later, Count Fredericks arrived, tearing his hair and saying he was in a terrible position, that everyone wanted news, while he was not allowed to tell anyone anything. He wanted us to persuade Alex to allow a bulletin to be published, which we were able to do. She agreed that there is nothing worse than trying to conceal things. We telegraphed poor Mama. Thank God Alex is so calm. Zena's diary, the 31st of October 1900. Thank the Lord. Nicky had an excellent night. He slept until morning. His temperature was 38.7 and he felt well. Alex called me to see Nicky. He was in remarkably good spirits, and chatted and joked. Alex was also in a good mood, having slept well. They didn't want to let me go, but in the end I left of my own accord, as he needs complete rest and had been talking too much. All the unnecessary furniture has been removed from the bedroom, and will be taken into Alex's drawing room this afternoon. Alex is now sleeping in another bed. At least the doctors have achieved that much. Zena's diary, the 1st of November 1900. They are not happy that Nicky's temperature is so low, 36 degrees, but the pulse is good at 66. They are afraid of a hemorrhage. God preserve us. It's so terrifying. Help us God. Save our Nikki. The 13th of November 1900. Against this background, disc. Ustions about who should succeed Nicholas II, in the event that he should die. The Empress attempted to persuade her husband to change the laws of succession to allow females to inherit the throne in the absence of any male heirs in order for their 4-year-old daughter Grand Duchess Olga Nikolaevna to inherit the empire, as opposed to her uncle, Grand Duke Michael Alexandrovich. Ultimately, these changes did not take place. After 13th November, the Tsar's temperature started coming down, and on the 30th of November, for the first time, Nicholas spent half an hour on his balcony. It was sunny, warm and still. Thank God my typhoid was mild and I didn't suffer at all during the whole time. I had a strong appetite and now my weight is increasing noticeably every day. Nicholas recovered 6 months later, in May to June 1901. However, little Olga came down with typhoid. Alexandra would nurse their eldest daughter through her illness. On the 24th of November 1900, Nicholas wrote to his mother, "About my little wife I can only say that she was my guardian angel, looked after me better than any sister of mercy.